It is the year 1400, and Prince Vlad is hopelessly in love with his beloved wife, Elisabeta. They are made for each other, spending most of their time making love, dancing, and teasing each other. One of the special gifts that Vlad gave Elisabeta was her favorite music box. But their story was about to get dark. The commander of his army, Captain Targal, alerts him of an Ottoman invasion, which immediately requires Vlad's attention. Although unwilling, he puts on his armor and orders Elisabeta to be taken to a safe castle. Before leaving, he takes the blessing of the Pope and requests him to ask God to protect his wife. He admits that he cannot live without her, as she is his soulmate, and the two are inseparable. A handful of soldiers escort Elisabeta to safety, while Vlad prepares his army to head into battle. But after traveling some distance, she gets ambushed by a group of Ottoman soldiers.
Go, princess, go! Run! Take her down!
She flees, while her soldiers are killed by the Ottomans. Elsewhere, using his experience, he traps the Ottoman soldiers in a ring of fire and charges at them. Vlad fights valiantly, answering his enemies with his sword and determination. He triumphs, but before he can revel in glory, learns that his wife is in danger. Without wasting a moment, he rides to save her. Elisabeta falls, after her horse gets trapped in a bear trap. Fortunately, Vlad reaches her and eliminates the soldiers, but accidentally harms his own wife. Her death is swift, denying him the chance of saying goodbye to his beloved. Heartbroken and enraged, Vlad returns to his castle, where he confronts the Pope. He demands to know why God did not protect his wife, but the Pope has no concrete answers. Vlad begs that God perform a miracle and bring Elisabeta back to life, but his prayers bear no fruits. Furious, he renounces God and kills the Pope while declaring that from that day onwards, his soul does not belong to God anymore. Since then, 400 years have passed, and at present, we are introduced to Dr. Dumont. He is a physician who is bothered by the deteriorating health of one of his patients, named Maria. He has asked the church for help, and hence they have sent a priest to aid him in Maria's treatment. The priest is highly knowledgeable and has expertise in handling complex cases. They visit Maria, who appears to be bound by chains, inside a dark room. Her condition is so severe that it caught the Queen's attention, and what concerns them more is that as per her birth records, she is 130 years old. He checks her condition, and the doctor is horrified to know that Maria is a vampire, and she is the first one who has ever been caught alive. To prove his point, he exposes Maria to sunlight.
It is direct rays they cannot take.
The priest tries threatening her with the Holy Cross, but it's futile. To make her reveal her secrets, he offers her a gift. Maria drinks it with satisfaction, and in return reveals that she obeys her master. He is the master vampire, named Dracula, from whom all other vampires are born. We understand that she is referring to Vlad, who appears to have lived for 400 years after becoming a vampire. He is awaiting Elisabeta's reincarnation and desires to be one with her again. Elsewhere, a young legal solicitor named Jonathan Harker visits Transylvania to handle his client's real estate purchases. The coachman advises him to carry a holy cross, but Jonathan is not a believer in God. Eerily, when Jonathan approaches the designated address, he is dumbfounded by the mesmerizing and lavish castle, which opens itself to welcome him. He walks inside and finds the place completely dark, while the lightning reveals a tall figure standing at a distance.
Is anybody here? Oh.
The figure introduces himself as Dracula and leads Jonathan inside, inviting him to dinner. At dinner, he talks with Jonathan and tells him that when he was young, he traveled to all the continents of the world, but now his associates travel the world for him. While Dracula feeds on a rat, Jonathan offers him a handsome amount of money if he agrees to sell his property located in Paris.
Got it.
Enough talking for tonight. Let me show you to your room.
Dracula gives him a room to stay, but warns him not to leave his room under any circumstances. To our horror, he commands a gargoyle to keep an eye on Jonathan, in case he does something stupid. As expected, Jonathan ventures outside his room at night, roaming through the huge castle with a lantern. He enters through a door and climbs down the stairs, eventually reaching a dimly lit room containing a coffin. The foolish man opens it and is shocked to find Dracula sleeping inside it.
You should not have left your room.
Jonathan wakes up and finds himself bound in chains. He has broken the rule of the castle and ventured outside his room at night. Hence, Dracula ties him upside down while collecting his food in a bowl. Dracula gracefully allows him one last wish before his death, and Jonathan expresses his wish to learn about Dracula's past. The vampire grants the wish and unties him. He recounts the days that followed after Elisabeth's death. Since that day, he has been waiting for her reincarnation. But waiting 400 years was not easy. He tried to meet his beloved in the afterlife multiple times, but God denied him the freedom of death. No matter how hard he tried, he survived each time. Devastated, he went to her grave, trying to find some peace, but was heartbroken to find that her bones have turned to dust. His loyal servants presented him with huge amounts of gold, silver, and food, but everything had lost its meaning. When asked how he will locate her post her reincarnation, the vampire replies that he has searched for her for centuries, but failed. Hence, he visited all across Europe, learning how to create perfume from flower extracts. Finally, in the city of Florence, he perfected what he called the magical perfume. It charmed any nearby women, overriding any inhibition they may have, completely surrendering themselves to Dracula. But even that could not bring him his Elisabeth. Consumed with rage, he turned all those women to vampires, and Maria was one of them. Those women were tasked to find Elisabeth and work as his informants. Jonathan expresses his condolences for Elisabeth's death. He then reveals that he is engaged to his fiancée Mina, and if he dies, she will not be able to continue with her life. Curious, he checks her picture, only to find that Mina resembles his beloved Elisabeth. Overjoyed, he spares Jonathan's life, but keeps him imprisoned. Meanwhile, the priest visits Maria's fiancé, Henry. To uncover the secrets of Dracula, he visits Maria's room and checks every nook and corner. Sure enough, he finds a book with Elisabeth's picture in it. Next morning, he reveals his findings to Dr. Dumont, who understands that they need to find this woman before Dracula finds her. The priest tells him that they need to kill Dracula, as it is the only way to break the curse and turn his followers into humans. Just then, a clerk informs them that the woman in the adjacent room looks just like the one in the picture. Here we are introduced to Mina, who is waiting to meet her friend Maria. Dumont asks her how she met Maria, and she reveals that she met Maria at a tea party and immediately became friends. They had a deep friendship, but on the day of Maria's wedding, the woman lost her nerves. When asked about her personal life, she tells them that she loves her fiancé Jonathan, but she has an eerie feeling that she belongs somewhere else.
I can't help but feel like As if I don't belong in this time.
Elsewhere, Dracula visits a church disguised as a beggar, and a nun invites him inside. But once inside, he reveals his true form. He wears his perfume, attracting the attention of all the nuns present in the venue. It appears that they have lost control of their own senses, and their body is betraying their mind. They flock to him as bees are attracted to flowers, offering themselves to Dracula, who feeds on them, effectively replenishing his youth. Elsewhere, Jonathan, who is worried about Mina, makes a makeshift rope and escapes confinement. The gargoyles try their best to prevent his escape, but the struggle eventually leads him to fall from a great height into a frozen lake. They try reaching him, but the ice is too thin to support their weight. Jonathan, although injured, slowly makes his escape. Meanwhile, Dracula reaches the mental institution, where he frees Maria as a reward for finding Mina. He also gifts her the clerk, whom he had enchanted with his perfume. The news reaches the priest, who immediately reaches the asylum, only to find that the clerk has been turned into a vampire. He also learns that Vlad had infiltrated the place and took Maria with him. Elsewhere, Maria visits Mina and invites her to a carnival. That night, after 4 centuries, Vlad finally gets to see the face of his beloved. He introduces himself and immediately charms her with his seductive words. He follows her while she enjoys the shows and participates in a few games. It seems that just being close to her brings him immeasurable happiness. He helps her take aim, and she immediately gets flashbacks of her past life, but brushes it off as her imagination. Maria leaves them alone, and the two talk about each other's lives. Mina tells him that she craves to live in a place surrounded by nature and its quietness. He gifts her the old music box that we saw in the beginning of the movie. When she plays it, it reminds her of their intimate moments from her past life.
Keep searching.
She jolts backwards and claims that she is not his Elisabeth. Right at that moment, Maria invites her to watch the fireworks and posts that he escorts her home. But inside, she finds Jonathan injured and lying on the couch. She is utterly shocked to learn that both Dracula and Maria are vampires, and he is the one who has hurt Jonathan. But when left alone inside her room, she plays the music box and is again reminded of her time together with Dracula. She revels in her romantic memories, while Dracula has infiltrated her room from the balcony. She berates him for lying to her and for using perfume to seduce her, but he denies her accusations. She tells him to go away, but when he tries jumping out of the window, she forbids him to do so. It is evident that she cares for him more than she can admit. He comes close and holds her hand. His touch reminds her of how much she loved him in her previous life. Finally, after 400 years, Dracula is reunited with his wife. Somehow, the priest feels the evil presence and rushes to Mina's room, but finds it empty. Meanwhile, Maria returns to Henry, and in the pretext of making love, tries to bite him. But Dumont and the rest intervene. Maria tries killing the priest, but Jonathan intervenes with a decorative sword, allowing the priest to put an end to her suffering. Dracula returns to his castle with Mina, and she returns to her room after 4 centuries. But their happiness is short-lived, as the French police have surrounded his castle and forcefully enter through the gates. Just like 400 years ago, Vlad leaves his princess and marches into battle, while Mina remains in fear of losing him once again. The gargoyles fight back, while Jonathan leads the priest to the coffin, but Vlad ambushes them from behind. He eliminates most of the forces, and even bullets have no effect on him. He kills Henry and holds the priest at the tip of his sword. The priest tells Dracula that God has sent him to break curse. He adds that Dracula has become Mina's damnation, as he has cursed her with eternal life. The same curse that he has carried for 400 years. Cannon fire rocks the castle, and Vlad rushes to Mina's aid. He displays his exceptional swordsmanship and reunites with his Elisabeth. She embraces him and refuses to let him leave again, but the priest reminds him that if he truly loves her, he must accept his demise. Dracula, who is reunited with his wife after such a long time, surrenders himself to God's will for the sake of his Elisabeth. The priest reads the holy verses and promptly drives a stake through his heart.
Et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
The police stop firing, and the gargoyles lose their power. Mina drags his body inside, and with a broken heart, confesses her love for the very last time. Slowly, his body turns to dust and his spirit flies high into the skies and into heaven. This is how this wonderful love story comes to an end. If you like this recap, please drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Thanks for staying till the end, and please do comment what you think about the movie. See you next time.